story. And then I stand up in front of an audience, I'm like, oh wait, this is, wow. It makes me so delighted to introduce Sabrina Orah Mark to all of you and to welcome her to Malvern Books. Her new book, Wild Milk, is, the word I keep coming back to is incandescent. It is strange and beautiful and inventive and full of sentences I can't imagine anybody else writing. I was incredibly excited and happy to be able to read it in manuscript. Her first collection of stories, Wild Milk, was recently published by Dorothy, a publishing project. She's also the author of the poetry collections, The Babies and Tsim Tsum. Mark's awards include a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship, a Sustainable Arts Foundation Award, and a fellowship from the Fine Arts Work Center in Provincetown, Massachusetts, which is the best place in the world for young writers. She lives in Athens, Georgia, with her husband, Reginald McKnight, an extraordinary writer in his own right, and her 2 sons.
Hi, everybody. I actually bake challah every Friday for my boys, and I have them whisper into the dough, "I love you," and I swear it changes. It makes it better, but now I'm never going to think of challah. You destroyed it. And it's true. It is true that children long to be eaten. Actually, the other day I was looking at Facebook, and one of my friends was wearing a T-shirt that said "End the patriarchy," and so my 5-year-old said, "What does that say?" And I said, "End the patriarchy," and he said, "Hey, I'm standing right here." And he's 5, and I was like, "You know what? How did you feel?" So, and then I ate him. But it's just a total honor being here and reading with Elizabeth, who has been just a literary hero for me forever. So I'm nervous and excited, and so thank you for just existing. I'm going to read the title story. It's called Wild Milk, and then I'll read another short story called For the Safety of Our Country. Wild Milk was actually a few years ago. It was inspired by an ice storm that happened in Atlanta, and I live in Athens, Georgia, and whenever there's any kind of, if there's 1 inch of snow, everybody just freezes and no one knows what to do. And I don't know if you remember this, but there were all these school buses that were trapped on the highway filled with school children, and a very good friend of mine could not get to her baby left in a daycare, and she had to sleep there overnight. And so that's where this story came from, and it's called Wild Milk. On the first day of Live Oak Daycare, all the children are given shovels and a small bag of dirt. We encourage the children, even the babies, especially the babies, to work hard imaginatively. Miss Birdie, my son's teacher, winks. She sits my baby boy in the middle of the floor with his shovels and dirt. He is not even a year old. I look around. The babies are happy. I have never seen such happy babies, chewing on their shovels, spreading around their dirt. Miss Birdie gives me a hug. I wave goodbye to my boy, but he doesn't see me. "Go, go," says Miss Birdie. "He's in good hands." She shows me her hands. They remind me, for some reason, of my hands. 3 hours later, I come to pick up my boy. He is wearing a bright orange poncho that does not belong to him. He crawls towards me like a searchlight. "Your child," says Miss Birdie, "is a phenomenon." I blush. "Oh, thank you. We too think he is very special," I say. I want to ask about the poncho, but Miss Birdie goes on. I mean, your child is a phenomena, says Miss Birdie. What I mean to say is that your child is a real man. Miss Birdie softly pinches her tongue and pulls off a long white hair. Oh, that's better. She says, I mean a ma. She makes little tiny spits. I mean a no one. Your child, says Miss Birdie, is a real no one. No, that's not it either. Miss Birdie smooths her stiff cotton skirt. It's pink with tiny red cherries on it. What I mean to say most of all, says Miss Birdie, is that I love not being dead. Me too, I say. Oh, good, says Miss Birdie. Here's his bottle. He drank all his milk and then cried and cried and cried for more. In the hallway, I pass a mother covered in daughters. I count 5. I hold up my bundled son like a form of identification, like he will provide me safe passage across the border. No daughters? She asks. No, I say, no daughters. How come, she asks. She seems to be blaming me unfairly. By the time they arrived, I explain the daughters had turned. Rotten? She asks. Not exactly rotten, but gigantic. I hand her my boy so I can spread my arms wide to show her how big. I take my boy back. Gigantic, I repeat, and mealy. I sent the whole bin back, the whole bin of daughters back. The brave thing would have been to keep them, I know, but they just seem so impossible to name. The mother nods. She still seems to disapprove, but before I can be certain, her daughters lift her up hungrily and carry her away. The strange thing about being a mother is how often I'm interrupted, like something is happening and then something else is happening. It is difficult to get a good grasp on things. The next day, Miss Birdie is peeling vegetables. The babies are watching, transfixed. I have come early to pick up my boy, but I don't see my boy. Miss Birdie points to a child the color of chicken broth. Yours? She asks. Definitely not mine, I say. She points to another and another as if I lost my ticket for a coat check. I don't see my boy. It is becoming difficult to breathe and I am suddenly freezing cold. The floor opens up beneath me, and just as I begin to fall through, my boy crawls out from underneath the bassinet. In his fist is a tiny book. On the cover is a picture of a plain brown mouse. He holds it up. Mouse, he says. This is his first real word. My mouse, he says. I am amazed. I am relieved. His pronunciation is perfect. I want to pick him up, reward him with kisses, hold him, and never let him go. But Miss Birdie stops me. No, she says. She softly wags a finger at my boy. That's not your mouse. That's no one's mouse. Her voice slows. That mouse, Miss Birdie coughs. That mouse, she says, is alone in this world and barely. Miss Birdie stops. What was that? She asks. What was what? I ask. That sound, says Miss Birdie. I don't know, I say. What did it sound like? It was a sound that sounded like a sound, says Miss Birdie, like a sound would make. Never mind, where was I? You were with the mouse. Oh, the mouse. Do you know him? No, I say, unless you mean, neither do I, says Miss Birdie, and this is my point. That mouse, Miss Birdie is now looking at my boy. That mouse is alone in this world and barely. Miss Birdie sucks in one long, beautiful breath. Exists, says Miss Birdie triumphantly. That mouse is not unlike you. She is still looking at my boy. When I call out for that mouse in the dark, does the mouse come? No, the mouse does not. Do you? So far, not even once. My baby puts his whole hand in Miss Birdie's mouth and leaves it there for what seems like days. On Monday, Miss Birdie's bright pink blouse is fluttering with excitement. Your boy wrote his name today all by himself. She hands me a piece of construction paper. Someone, not my baby, has written on it, "Shreds." I hand the paper back. That is not his name. "Oh," says Miss Birdie. She looks at the paper and her face crumples. "I'm sorry," says Miss Birdie. "I don't know how this happened." "I don't know how anything happens," I say. We hold hands. "I'm so lonely," says Miss Birdie. "I'm so lonely too," I say. "I thought you were my hiding place," says Miss Birdie. I picture her skull. "I thought you were mine," I say. Miss Birdie ties a yellow scarf around her head. "Stop picturing my skull," says Miss Birdie. She is clearly upset. Her lips are cracked and begin to bleed a little. She looks at the construction paper and traces each letter with her thumb. If this isn't his name, then whose name is it? She sorts through the other babies. She pats me down as if searching for something. She touches me on the thigh. She feels like she's about to snow. The next day, there's a message from Miss Birdie. "We cannot give your boy his bottle. The milk you left was wild. Please bring better milk." I rush to Live Oak. I have no better milk. This is the only milk I have. I point to each breast. Miss Birdie is holding my baby. He is shivering and hungry. Miss Birdie is snowing hard. I try to walk toward her, but there is a great wind, and I can barely see through the big white flakes. "This is the only milk I have." I am calling to Miss Birdie and my boy through the snowstorm. My arms are outstretched. "Come to Mama," I cry. I say my baby's name. It sounds smaller and flatter than I ever imagined it. I can't get to him. Miss Birdie is a blizzard that could last all winter. "I am sorry," I am shouting. Miss Birdie has my baby and she is snowing. It is all my fault. I should never have left him. I am sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. I am punching at the snow. I am fighting against nature when I know I have no choice but to wait until spring. The mother, covered in daughters, kneels beside me. This time I count 15. "Climb on," she says. "I'm so sorry," I say. "It is the only milk I have." "Of course it is," she says. "Is there room?" I ask. "Around my neck," she says. I climb up and hang on loosely. The mother, covered in daughters, is warm, and I am so tired. "Go to sleep," says the mother. "I will wake you up when it's time to go." But the mother never does wake me up, which is how you know this story is true. I'm going to just end on this other short story. It's called "For the Safety of Our Country." And I had this idea about a place called the White House, where all the presidents would end up when all the citizens cease to exist. It's imaginary. Today is a new batch. The presidents come from all over. Perishable presidents in thinning sweaters, presidents bent like moons, thirsty presidents, humming presidents, thick, winderish presidents, sick presidents, beautiful presidents, see-through presidents, watery presidents, presidents with faces blank as almonds, hollering presidents, sad presidents, sadder presidents, presidents skinny as twigs, presidents soft as bread. "We're here," announces the bus driver. "White House." The presidents stumble off the old yellow bus that was once long ago used for school children. "We're lost?" asks one president, squinting in the sunlight. "Not yet," says another. "More like we're becoming lost. I'm the one in charge. I am small but quick, and I'm a hard worker." As they descend, I hand each president a sack lunch of chicken legs and oranges. I hand each president a small bottle of water. "Nobody is lost," I assure them. "See," I say, spreading my arms wide enough to hug them all. "We're all right here." As they walk toward me, they leave behind, like uprooted trees, the barest trace of earth. None of the presidents smile. They go through the turnstiles. Entrance is free. I come from a long line of superstitious people. We spit 3 times. We keep salt in our pockets. We wear tiny hands against our chests. We throw no baby showers. We chew on thread. We break the glass. We knock on wood. We rarely smile for fear of bringing attention to a happiness we rarely feel, for fear of someone out of nowhere taking our happiness away. And so I don't expect anything from the presidents. I barely expect them to stay alive. And this, for all of us, is a relief. This is why they put me in charge. Yesterday, I sent the last batch along their merry way. No one was whistling, least of all me. Like charred paper up a chimney, the old presidents were here, and then they were gone. The new presidents fan out on the grounds that are lush because of me. They shyly peel the meat away from the bone and eat. They chew stiffly. The grass on these greens is greener than most greens are green and wilder. Some presidents get caught in the thicket and copse, but I untangle them before they even know it. When they are done with lunch, I show the presidents around. Here is the dark pond. Here is the rec room, the china room, the crying room. Here is the library, and here is the secret library. Here is the water fountain, but it never worked. And over there, I point to over there, is where the nickels and dimes are kept. And over there are all the pennies. And here are your beds, 13 rows of beds like stripes on a flag. 1 bed per president, I instruct. Don't take 2 beds because you only need 1. A few presidents twist and mat together like fur, but I comb them out. I want to ask the presidents if they remember animals, but I know now isn't the time. It's never really the time. At the 11th hour, I announce, we'll meet back at the rec room. "What?" asks the president. "At the 11th hour," I say as loudly as I can, "we'll meet back at the rec room." The presidents will forget. They are still busy choosing beds. I will remind them twice more. Among the presidents, there is one president named Huck. I noticed him immediately. His black coat is soft and frayed. If in his graying beard is one half-written poem folded up many times, I wouldn't be surprised at all. He picks his bed last. I linger, though I shouldn't, as he opens his suitcase. Nothing but dustpans. He stacks them carefully beside his bed. He sees me seeing. Dustpans. It's unquestionably a hearty collection. Something about Ha makes me want to throw a stone into the sea. But there is no sea anymore, and the stones were collected and hauled away years ago. It's against the rules for me to love one president more than another. I slip away down the hall, a bouquet of presidents. I pull them apart at the neck. This is part of my job, unbunching. I spray Windex on our motto, "You are here for the safety of our country." I wipe it until it shines. I mop the floors with something scentless. I pick up everything the presidents drop. Pencils, socks, candy wrappers, loose leaf papers, apple peels, toothbrushes, dollar bills, bars of soap, postage stamps, worry dolls, shoelaces, combs, buttons, receipts, nail clippers, sometimes even a tooth. Soon it will be the 11th hour. I go to my room to change into something more significant. The president named Ha knocks on my door. What's this country's name again? I tell him the name. See, says Ha, has no ring to it. He leads me to the window. Look, he says, all these people in their colorful t-shirts just staring up at me all day. It's too much. I mean, I'm just a man. I look out the window. There's no one there. There hasn't been anyone there for years. He looks off into the distance. How do you spell woo-hoo? Some people, I say, use a dash, but I like it without. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a wishbone. We crack it. He gets the larger piece, closes his eyes, and makes what looks like a wish. What did you wish, I ask. The terrain on Ha's face is silent still. I wished for nothing. I'm just a man, he says, and this is just a country. He looks back out the window, and those are just citizens. I look carefully through the glass. There is no one there. There's nothing to wish for, says Ha. He takes my hand and leads me back to his dustpans, and those are just dustpans. I look at the dustpans. It really is a hearty collection. I notice his breath, paltry, puny. Under his left eye appears to be a small patch of moss where a flower could grow, if only he believed in himself a little more. Ha and I stand beside his bed, holding hands for a long time. It's impossible to tell one dustpan from another. At home, says Ha, I used to keep sheep, but the sheep got distraught. Of course they did, I say, patting his back. Sadly, he chuckles. He touches my thinning hair. I touch his beard, hoping to find something, but it's empty. Not even a dustpan, not even a small one. Ha goes back to his quarters, and I go back to mine. When I arrive at the 11th hour, the presidents are already drinking fruit punch out of small paper cups. Traces of pink mustaches float above their lips. The orange and blue and red and yellow and purple crepe streamers suggest a celebration. A knot of presidents thickens behind me. I loosen them. I see Ha. He has the look of a man who left his only son 100 years ago on a windowsill, frantic and defeated. I go to Ha. I have to fight a little through the streamers to get to him, but I get to him. Something happened, says Ha. His lips are dusty. Something is always happening, I say. The presidents, like water, swell around Ha. I look into their eyes, cracked seashells. They've been through so much. You've been through so much, I say. The presidents nod. The presidents turn their pockets and out spill crushed flowers they've picked for no one. The presidents' heads are bent and they are making little gray sounds. Sometimes I look at the presidents and dream of another life. The presidents have done nothing wrong. Not really. Something happened, says Ha again. We've been briefed. The trees, says the president, have been shot. Which trees, I ask, though I know. The Aleppo trees, says the president. The Aleppo trees have been shot, says the president. What does Aleppo mean, asks the president. It means to give milk to travelers as they pass through the region, says the president. Oh, says the president. Milk, says the president. Trees, says the president. Region, says the president. Do we need Aleppo trees, asks the president. On that we haven't yet been briefed. Have all the trees been shot, asks the president. Most of them, says the president. And what fruit do they bear, if they bear fruit at all, asks the president. Pear, says the president, but rarely, says the president. Rarer than rarely, says another. Never, says another. I let the presidents go on about the trees as I hand each president a white nightgown to change into before bed. What should we do about the trees, yawns the president. Maybe we should tell them to just surrender, suggests another. It's getting late. I whisper like a mother. A thin layer of mildew has begun to grow over the president's faces. I open a window. The president's white nightgowns quiver, it seems, in the wind. But there is no wind anymore, so it cannot be the wind. The trees have been shot, says a president, for their timber, says a president. Some of the presidents, like scattered hail, have already curled into small white balls and fallen soundly asleep. The others drift silently into their beds, leaving behind a trail of pear seeds. Seeds from the fruit the Aleppo trees will never bear. I sweep up the pear seeds, and the sounds of my sweeping sounds like, for their timber, for their timber, for their timber. Ha hands me a dustpan. Into it I sweep the seeds. There are so many seeds. Ha smiles. Between his teeth are seeds. His eyes are seeds. Caked in his fingernails are seeds. Tomorrow is another day, I say, although it isn't really. For the presidents, there's only ever really one day. Ha climbs over his stack of dustpans and tucks himself in. I want to kiss Ha, but there are no kisses anymore. The kisses ended a long time ago, too. The presidents breathe in and breathe out, in and out. I look out the window. In the distance, very small bodies are dragging behind them very soft things. I close the curtains. The presidents need their sleep. Had January not ended a long time ago in the morning, it would have been the first day of January. And it might have rained had rain not ended. And there might have been the sound of children playing had children not ended. Soon everything will end. Soon the mountains will end, and the snow on the mountains will end, and the sunshine will end, and the moon will end. And soon the very, very last president will arrive, and then presidents will end too. And then it will just be me, the very last citizen, standing quietly in the dark, knowing I did everything I could to make this country a safer place.